It's a harsh reality, but some people in our lives take pleasure in causing harm and chaos. Think about it. You could be sharing moments, trusting someone only to discover they are the very source of your turmoil. Today, we dive deep into a topic that's as fascinating as it is frightening. Recognizing the signs you're dealing with an evil person. Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a family member, these individuals can be masters of deception, hiding their true nature behind charm and charisma. Today, we're not just exploring this dark side of human behavior out of curiosity. Understanding these signs can be life-changing. The Stoics believed in the power of perception and the importance of living a life guided by reason and virtue. By identifying and understanding these toxic traits, we can protect our peace of mind and cultivate healthier relationships, staying true to the Stoic principles of wisdom and self-control. Stay with us as we uncover 5 telltale signs of an evil person. By the end of this video, you'll not only be better equipped to spot these behaviors, but also learn practical ways to safeguard your mental health and well-being. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple, free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Please don't skip any part of the video. You won't want to miss our special bonus section, where I'll share an effective strategy for setting firm boundaries with these individuals. Let's embark on this journey of self-awareness and resilience together. Sign 1. The charming and charismatic facade. When we talk about people who seem charming and charismatic at first, it's important to remember that appearances can be deceiving. These individuals often have a way of lighting up a room, making everyone around them feel special and valued. They know exactly what to say to make you feel like you've just made a new best friend. At first glance, they seem like the perfect person, witty, engaging, and seemingly interested in your life. It's easy to get swept up in their charm, thinking you found someone truly special. However, the Stoics teach us to look beyond the surface and seek the truth through rational thought and observation. Over time, you might start to notice little cracks in their facade. Maybe they always need to be the center of attention, overshadowing others in social settings. They might talk over you, interrupt you, or even subtly put you down in front of others. These aren't just quirks or signs of an extroverted personality. They're red flags. The Stoics would advise us to observe these behaviors with a clear mind, unclouded by the initial excitement of their charisma. Imagine being at a party where this person is the life of the event, telling jokes and captivating the crowd. At first, it feels great to be in their orbit, but as the evening progresses, you realize they're dominating every conversation, making everything about themselves. When you try to share something about your life, they quickly redirect the topic back to them. This is where the Stoic principle of apatheia, a state of being undisturbed by external things, comes in handy. By staying emotionally balanced, you can see through their charming act and recognize the self-centered nature underneath it. It's also crucial to pay attention to how they react when things don't go their way. A person who is genuinely kind and caring will handle disappointments and disagreements with grace and understanding. But someone who is merely playing a role to gain your trust might quickly become angry or defensive. They might lash out or try to manipulate the situation to regain control. According to Stoic wisdom, such reactions are clear indicators of a lack of virtuous character. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to be wary of those who display signs of anger and manipulation, as these are not the traits of a rational and virtuous person. The key here is to take your time and trust your instincts. The Stoics believed in the power of observation and the importance of not rushing to judgment based on first impressions. Epictetus taught that we should carefully evaluate the character of those we allow into our inner circle. So if someone seems too good to be true, give yourself the space to observe their actions over time. Notice how they treat others, especially when they think no one is watching. True character is revealed in how a person behaves when they aren't trying to impress anyone. Remember, not everyone who seems charming and charismatic has good intentions. Some people use their charm as a tool for manipulation. By staying grounded and mindful, you can protect yourself from being taken in by a superficial facade. Stay true to the Stoic principles of wisdom and discernment, and you'll be better equipped to navigate these complex social interactions. Sign 2. Lack of empathy. Another crucial sign to watch out for is a lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's what allows us to connect deeply with those around us, to offer support when it's needed, and to create meaningful relationships. However, there are individuals out there who seem to completely lack this essential human trait. They don't care about how their actions or words affect others, and this can have a devastating impact on those around them. The Stoics believed in the importance of compassion and understanding as fundamental virtues. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the interconnectedness of humanity and the need to consider the well-being of others as part of our own well-being. So when we encounter someone who shows a blatant disregard for the feelings of others, it's a serious red flag. Imagine you're sharing something deeply personal with a friend, hoping for some comfort or understanding. Instead of showing any genuine concern, they brush off your feelings or even mock your vulnerability. This lack of empathy can make you feel isolated and misunderstood. It's not just about them not being there for you in tough times. It's also about them failing to share in your joy or celebrate your successes. A person who lacks empathy won't cheer for your achievements. They might even undermine them or take credit themselves. This behavior is not just limited to personal relationships. Consider a boss who pushes their employees to the brink, showing no concern for their well-being. They might demand long hours without fair compensation, ignore requests for time off, or publicly criticize employees in a way that's meant to humiliate rather than constructively guide. This creates a toxic work environment where people feel undervalued and stressed. The Stoics would advise us to maintain our inner peace and integrity in such situations, recognizing that the lack of empathy in others is a reflection of their character, not ours. Furthermore, a lack of empathy can lead to more sinister behaviors. People who cannot empathize with others may engage in actions that are outright cruel or without any sense of guilt or remorse. They might lie, cheat, or even inflict physical harm without a second thought about the pain they're causing. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized the importance of kindness and justice, teaching that our actions should always reflect our inner virtue. When someone lacks empathy, they're fundamentally disconnected from these values. A lack of empathy is also evident in smaller, everyday interactions. For example, you might notice that someone constantly interrupts conversations to talk about themselves, shows little interest in what others have to say, or fails to offer help when it's clearly needed. These might seem like minor annoyances at first, but they add up to a pattern of behavior that reveals a deeper issue. The Stoics would remind us to be observant and discerning, understanding that these small signs are indicative of a person's true character. If you find yourself dealing with someone who consistently lacks empathy, it's important to set boundaries to protect your own mental and emotional health. The Stoics believed in the importance of maintaining our own well-being and not allowing the negativity of others to disturb our peace. You have the right to distance yourself from those who drain your energy and bring you down. Sign 3, manipulation. Another major sign of an evil person is manipulation. Manipulation is when someone uses deceit or cunning tactics to control or influence others to get what they want. It's a subtle, often insidious behavior that can be incredibly damaging to those on the receiving end. Manipulators are skilled at twisting situations, making you question your reality, and bending your will to suit their needs. This can leave you feeling confused, powerless, and unsure of your own judgments. Let's think about manipulation from a Stoic perspective. The Stoics valued clarity of thought and the ability to see things as they truly are. They taught that our perceptions should be grounded in reality and that we should remain steadfast in our principles, no matter the external pressures. When someone manipulates you, they are attempting to cloud your perception and distort reality, making it difficult for you to stay true to these Stoic ideals. A common form of manipulation is gaslighting, where a manipulator tries to make you doubt your own memory, perception, or sanity. They might deny that certain events happened, or they might twist your words and actions to make you feel at fault. For example, let's say you confront a friend about something hurtful they said. Instead of acknowledging it, they might turn the tables, accusing you of being overly sensitive or misremembering the situation. This can erode your confidence and make you reliant on the manipulator's version of reality. Manipulators are also adept at playing the victim. They might guilt trip you into doing things you don't want to do by making you feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. You might have a friend who constantly complains about their problems, expecting you to drop everything to help them. yet they are never there for you in return. They might say things like, "If you were really my friend, you'd do this for me," making you feel obligated to comply. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, emphasize the importance of understanding what is within our control and what is not. We cannot control others' actions or emotions, only our response to them. Consider how a manipulator might use flattery or charm to get their way. At first, this can feel great. They might shower you with compliments and make you feel special. But over time, you might notice that their praise comes with strings attached. They might compliment you when they want something from you or when they need you to do something for them. This can make you feel like you owe them or that you need to live up to their expectations to maintain their approval. The Stoics would remind us that true virtue and self-worth come from within, not from the fleeting approval of others. Manipulation can also take the form of isolation. A manipulative person might try to cut you off from your friends and family, making you more dependent on them. They might say things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family doesn't understand you like I do." This tactic makes it easier for them to control you because you become more reliant on them for support and validation. The Stoics believed in maintaining strong, supportive relationships with others, recognizing that we are social beings who thrive in community. Isolation goes against these principles as it weakens our support network and makes us more vulnerable to manipulation. Financial manipulation is another tactic used by evil people. They might borrow money and never repay it, or they might control your finances to limit your independence. For instance, a partner might insist on managing all the money in the relationship, making you ask for permission to spend anything. This control over finances can make it difficult for you to leave the relationship or assert your independence. The Stoics would encourage us to seek self-sufficiency and independence, ensuring that we are not unduly influenced or controlled by others. Recognizing manipulation for what it is can be challenging, especially when you care about the person involved. The Stoics teach us to be vigilant and discerning, to see things clearly, and to act with integrity. If you suspect someone is manipulating you, take a step back and assess the situation objectively. Are they consistently prioritizing their needs over yours? Do they make you feel guilty or unsure of yourself? Are they trying to control aspects of your life or isolate you from others? It's important to set firm boundaries with manipulators and stand your ground. Communicate clearly and assertively about what you will and will not tolerate. Remember, you have the right to your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control how others behave, we can control how we respond. By maintaining our inner strength and clarity, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of manipulation and stay true to our values. Sign 4. Controlling behavior. One of the most glaring signs of an evil person is controlling behavior. This goes beyond mere preferences or quirks. It's about someone who seeks to dominate every aspect of your life, leaving little room for your own autonomy and decisions. Controlling individuals often disguise their behavior as concern or care, but underneath it's about power and control. The Stoics, who valued personal freedom and self-control, would see this behavior as fundamentally opposed to living a virtuous life. A truly virtuous person, according to Stoic thought, respects the autonomy and rational capacity of others. Controlling behavior can manifest in many ways. For instance, you might have a friend who insists on always choosing where you go and what you do together. While it might seem harmless at first, over time you start to realize that your preferences and opinions are consistently ignored or overwritten. They might say things like, "I know what's best for us," or "You'll have more fun if you just listen to me." This isn't about mutual decision-making. It's about one person exerting their will over another. This subtle erosion of your choices is a key tactic. In relationships, controlling behavior can become even more dangerous. A partner might monitor your whereabouts, demand constant updates on your activities, and even dictate who you can and cannot see. They might go through your phone, check your messages, or insist on knowing all your passwords. This kind of surveillance and micromanagement can make you feel trapped and anxious, constantly walking on eggshells to avoid conflict. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasize the importance of maintaining your own inner freedom and autonomy, regardless of external pressures. The goal of the controlling person is to instill fear and dependence. the opposite of Stoic self-reliance. They may try to convince you that you are incapable of managing your own life or making sound decisions without their guidance. This can be particularly damaging if you are already feeling vulnerable or insecure. Control can also come in the form of financial manipulation. A controlling partner or family member might take charge of all financial decisions, doling out money as they see fit, and keeping you financially dependent on them. They might say, "I handle the money because you're not good with finances," or "It's easier if I just take care of everything." This can strip you of your financial independence and make it difficult to leave the relationship or assert your own choices. The Stoics believed in self-sufficiency and managing your own resources wisely, viewing financial control as a form of enslavement that must be resisted. Seneca warned against the pursuit of wealth for its own sake, but also recognized the importance of having enough resources to live independently and avoid being beholden to others. Another way controlling behavior shows up is through isolation. A controlling person might try to cut you off from friends and family, claiming that they're the only one who truly understands you or cares about you. They might criticize your loved ones, saying things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family is toxic." Over time, you might find yourself increasingly isolated, relying solely on the controlling person for support and companionship. This isolation makes you more vulnerable to their influence and manipulation. Remember, the Stoics emphasize the importance of reason and virtue as the guiding principles of life. A controlling person, by attempting to dominate and manipulate others, is acting against reason and virtue. They are seeking to impose their will on others, rather than respecting their autonomy and allowing them to live according to their own rational choices. If you find yourself in a relationship with someone who exhibits these controlling behaviors, it is important to recognize the danger and take steps to protect yourself. Seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. Set clear boundaries and be prepared to enforce them. And remember that you have the right to live a life of freedom and autonomy, free from the control of others. Living in accordance with Stoic values means asserting your independence and refusing to be dominated by anyone. Sign 5, a history of blaming others. A telling sign, and perhaps one of the most insidious, is a consistent pattern of blaming others for their own mistakes and shortcomings. An evil person rarely, if ever, takes responsibility for their actions. Instead, they are masters of deflection, always finding someone or something else to pin the blame on. This behavior is deeply rooted in a lack of self-awareness and a refusal to confront their own flaws. It is a way for them to protect their ego and avoid facing the consequences of their actions. From a Stoic perspective, this is a clear indication of a lack of virtue and integrity. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-examination and taking responsibility for one's actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the need to acknowledge our own imperfections and strive for self-improvement. Someone who consistently blames others is fundamentally incapable of this kind of introspection. They are choosing to remain ignorant of their own faults rather than working to overcome them. This refusal to acknowledge one's own shortcomings is a sign of moral weakness. Imagine a situation where someone makes a mistake at work that has negative consequences for the team. A responsible person would acknowledge their error, apologize, and take steps to rectify the situation. However, someone with a tendency to blame others might try to shift the responsibility onto a colleague, claiming that they were given inadequate instructions or that the colleague failed to provide necessary support. They might even fabricate a story to make themselves look like the victim. They may claim the colleague didn't give them all the info, thus causing the error. This pattern of blaming others extends beyond professional settings and into personal relationships as well. If they hurt your feelings, it's because you were too sensitive, too demanding, or somehow provoked them. They rarely, if ever, offer a genuine apology or take responsibility for their actions. It's always someone else's fault or the result of circumstances beyond their control. They might argue that you made them do it. This behavior is not only frustrating, but it can also be incredibly damaging to those around them. By constantly deflecting blame, they avoid confronting their own weaknesses and continue to perpetuate harmful behaviors. They create a toxic environment where others are constantly on guard, fearing that they will be the next target of their blame. The Stoics believe that our character is shaped by our actions, and that we are responsible for the choices we make. Someone who consistently blames others is shirking their responsibility and failing to develop a virtuous character. The Stoics would advise us to be wary of those who consistently shirk responsibility and blame others. Such individuals are not only lacking in virtue, but they are also likely to be manipulative and controlling. They may use blame as a way to maintain power and avoid accountability. They may twist situations to make you feel guilty or responsible for their actions, even when you are not. If you find yourself dealing with someone who constantly blames others, it's important to protect yourself and avoid becoming a target of their accusations. Set firm boundaries and refuse to accept responsibility for their mistakes. Remember, you are not responsible for their actions or their choices. You can't change their behavior, but you can control how you respond to it. The Stoics believed in focusing on what is within our control and accepting what is not. You can't control whether someone blames others, but you can control whether you allow yourself to be affected by their accusations. Maintain your own sense of self-worth and refuse to be drawn into their web of blame. Ultimately, the Stoics would encourage us to focus on our own actions and strive for virtue, regardless of the behavior of others. By cultivating self-awareness, taking responsibility for our own mistakes, and treating others with kindness and compassion, we can create a more harmonious and fulfilling life for ourselves and those around us. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward protecting yourself and building healthier relationships. Living a virtuous life, even in the face of adversity, is the ultimate goal. The choices you make when faced with someone who is manipulative or controlling are a true measure of your character. So identifying these signs is just the first step. The real challenge lies in taking action to protect yourself. Remember the Stoic principles we've discussed: wisdom, discernment, self-control, and inner peace. Armed with these tools, you can navigate even the most challenging relationships with strength and resilience. It's not always easy to distance yourself from someone, especially if they're a friend, family member, or colleague. But your mental and emotional health are paramount. By setting firm boundaries, asserting your needs, and prioritizing your well-being, you can create a life that is aligned with your values and free from the harmful influence of evil people. Stay vigilant, stay strong, and remember that you deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift and support you, not those who tear you down. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and may your path be filled with peace and virtue. Remember also that the Stoic path is one of constant self-improvement. Even if you recognize some of these traits in yourself, don't despair. Use this knowledge as an opportunity to grow and become a better person. The journey to virtue is a lifelong pursuit, and every step you take brings you closer to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.